all, hope you're doing well. We had a bit of a weird Friday in so much as that the dollar did rise a little bit and the indices also rose as well. Russell 2000 was up 1%. VIX fell, so I think because the VIX fell it helped the indices. So it was a slightly out of bonk Friday in so much that we shouldn't really have rallied on risk if we've got a stronger dollar, but you know, correlations can break down and stuff. So just so you know that I did some analysis on the Dixie on the weekend, so perhaps, you know, maybe that's going to come into fruition, maybe that's going to come into play, but if we carry on risk on, which we are, then that's probably going to hinder the USD a little bit. So we're quite risk on at the big picture. The herd are selling the indices on average. Technical scores took a bit of a dump. We were at 80, we're now 72. Still fairly high, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for that to get nice and low and I'm going to buy the dip. Note that they sold EJ a lot, and they sold Swiss yen as well, which is of note. And let's look at the QDB scores. As said, AN's at the top and Euro Swiss at the bottom, and perhaps be a little bit careful the ones in the middle. And dollar CAD's going to be tricky this week because we've got lots of high severity data from Canada and the US. So we should see reds down here. We should see greens up there because of the scoring. Okay, let's look at the RDP. Bring that across. There's no trade set up for the S&P because it's so sideways. Just sideways, so we can't really trade that. Obviously, when we're having a crossover, you know, this is the Jackson Hole speech, big dump, then pump. So therefore, you know, they'd sold it and we could have entered long above there. Up we go. And so there's no trade set up there. So for S&P, probably find it's going to be quite quiet because we've got Labor Day in the United States. I'll be taking it easy today because I'm not going to force any trades, and I'm going to wait for the technical scores to get really low, and I'm going to buy the dip. Sideways, so, you know, we created some supply because they've gone long, so that's going to be a resistance, okay? But no trade set up there currently. DAX, and so they might sell it. That's the thing, is that they've gone long, so we create this supply, but I think they're going to sell it. So there could be a trade opportunity there, but we're going to encounter some resistance if we do go up, okay? But it depends on how strongly they sell it. They could really be quite convinced on the selling, and by doing so it's going to push price higher. So that's possibly a trade opportunity. We're going to get a buy. You could have your stop here. It'd be quite a wide stop, to be honest with you, so you'd have to be careful. And then gold, and I'm going to make these videos a bit quicker today, going forward. Oh, that's not right, it's silver. Don't want to look at silver. Thought that looked a bit strange. Gold, and well, they'd sold it, so we can create a box there, and that's it. So we'll look at the robot quickly, and I'm going to do some changes this time next week. So we're going to have technical, we're going to have like a technical conditions on the robot, where it's only going to open if we're like strong buy or strong sell on the technicals, because the sentiment's very wishy-washy, especially as we went into NFP. So they'd sold it, and so, you know, this is going to be a support, but we kind of like got like an overlap. You know, they've gone long, so price fell, and now they're selling it, so price would come up, but we've got like an overlap there. So let's show you the robot quickly. And so we had a little bit of a profit this morning. We've got a tiny bit of drawdown, and it looks like GA is going to be a bit of a pickle. And the thing is with these minor pairs is that they're quite volatile. Their volatility is very great compared to like GU, where GU would probably move 100 pips a day. This could move 170 pips a day. So the robot has got an intelligent stop loss distance, so that distance there for the entry is 50% of the average daily range. But even 50% of a huge range is still can be quite costly. So we might want to be thinking about removing the minor FX, and we look at major FX perhaps. But I think what we'll do is keep an eye on things this week, If we have a negative week, we'll look at technicals and then add sentiment on top of that, because currently we're just looking at sentiment purely, but I think it might be an idea to do technical like as a bedrock and then add sentiment on top like an icing on the cake potentially. So I think GA is going to probably be a bit horrible, and we've got to remember this is a risk on, risk off sensitive currency, where if we're buying the pound over the Aussie, we're expecting like a risk off scenario, okay, but we're going to possibly pump on risk, so these two could be they could be quite costly. That's today's video. Remember to trade safely. We've got US Labor Day, so it's going to be quite quiet, and just remember to trade safely and don't force any trades, let them come to you, and stick to a plan. See, my plan is wait for this to get low, then I'm going to buy the dip on probably the S&P or the DAX, but I'm not sure which index I'll use, but wait for that to get nice and low. As pending that this remains green, we're looking to buy, but we're waiting for that to dump a little bit first, okay? And that's the plan. So I'll speak to you guys soon.